Hi everybody, this is Mr. RB. I'm going to show you how to make the letter Z look like a three-dimensional form on a two-dimensional surface. Here's how we do it. I'm going to start by creating a horizon line, and I'm going to place my horizon line today high up on my page. My horizon line will go side to side and be horizontal. I'm going to add a vanishing point over on the far left. The vanishing point must go on the horizon line. It has to be. It must be in order to work. It must be on the horizon line. I'm choosing to put it on the far left. And we're only putting one vanishing point in, which is why we call this one point perspective. For later, I'm going to add a little sun in the sky, shining so brightly. Yay. And now I need to draw my bubble letter Z. To draw my bubble letter Z, it's a lot like drawing an angular version of a bubble letter S. I can use my ruler if I want really nice straight lines, which I have to say, this definitely helps me. I'm going to go horizontal. I'm going to go diagonal, but I'm not going to go, I'm not going to go over as far as I usually would if I was just drawing a regular Z. Because it's a bubble letter, I'm going to stop there and go back to horizontal. This one would drop down directly below, vertically directly below the corner I started at. This V, it's indented. You can see there's a space there. Here's why. I'm then going to add end caps. And I'm going to go in horizontally, lining up with the edge of my Z, because I want to get just a very understated simple Z today. I need to get another end cap there. Now, your Z could look a lot of different ways. I'm keeping to sort of a very straightforward Z today and very angular, partly because I think it makes it easier to see how the lines and angles are working when we start adding the one-point perspective lines. But any shape can work. All right, let's keep going. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. I'm going to put my pencil on the vanishing point, my ruler on the pencil, and I'm going to pivot, pivot, pivot till I hit a corner of the Z. First one I hit is the bottom left. I connect the 2 points together. Hey, connect the dots. That's a game I know. Next, I'm going to put my pencil back on the vanishing point. Ruler back on the pencil, and I keep going to get my pivoting till I get to my next angle. And oh, for me, the next one I got to was that corner right above the bottom. Notice that there's all these clear corners, and again, that's part of why I chose a very angular version of the letter Z, so that everything would be very clear where it changes shape. That means it's very clear where I need my vanishing lines. All right, I have those two lines, and I could decide that my Z goes all the way back to the horizon. It's an incredibly huge Z. I don't want to do that today. I'm going to cut it off much shorter. And if the front edge of the Z is a vertical, like it is over here, then the back edge will also have to be a vertical. It's going to do the same kind of thing that the front does. All right, let's go here. I'm going to slide back a little. And these two lines now should be parallel. This line and this line should be parallel. That means if they went back in space forever and ever and ever and ever, and you drew them infinitely long, they would still never meet. They would always stay exactly this far apart. Kind of the opposite of our vanishing lines, which definitely meet. All the vanishing lines from this drawing would all meet in this same one spot. They all V together. All right, let's get rid of the extra bits of line because we don't need all of that. I'm going to use my eraser here. I'm going to hold the paper and work away from where I'm holding it so I don't get so many wrinkles by scrunching up my paper, which I have done on a regular basis. in some of these other videos. But I can avoid that. All right, let's keep going. Pencil on vanishing point, ruler on pencil. Let's look for another corner. Oh, I hit one. It's over here. And this one would go right through the letter. I'm going to say that for today, my letter Z will be made out of, it's a drawing of a Z made out of concrete or wood or metal, something we wouldn't generally see through. And therefore, we wouldn't see the back lines. We wouldn't see any corners and angles going through the front of the letter. So I'm off the hook. I don't have to draw that one. Yay. Let's keep going and see what else we come to. Pivot, 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 pivot. Nope, not that one we said. Pivot, 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 pivot. Ah, there we go. The bottom of that top edge. If I get the bottom, I also want to get the top. Notice they're both ending at the same place. They start at two separate points, but they end at the same place. It makes a triangle. I want to get that same vertical parallel, and I want to line it up with the bottom one so it seems like it's the same thickness at the top and the bottom. So I'm just going to line this up with this one. Here's that vertical, and I'm just going to continue that right there. Now I can erase with my handy dandy eraser. Did I mention draw lightly? Oh, no? Draw lightly. There's a lot that you're going to be erasing with this project. My apologies for not saying that sooner. All right, let's see what else we have to put in here. Pencil on the vanishing point. Ruler on the pencil. Pivot, we did that one. Pivot, we did that one. Skip that one. We did that one. We did that one. And that one would go through, if we went for this one, it would go through the Z, so skip that one. All right, let's keep going. Oh, here's one on the back side of the Z, way over here. I'm going to go up. It would go through over there, but notice there's this big section which we should be able to see. We're going to make that work. All right. So I want to make it, I'm not sure, I know that the front edge is a horizontal. The back edge has to be horizontal. And I know that it probably should point towards this little corner here so that they seem like they would meet. So I'm just going to put the ruler on that front edge of the bubble letter, float it up a little bit till I get to this corner. Notice I'm trying to keep that horizontal, and then I'm going to go across with a little line. I no longer need that little bit. You know, one thing I didn't put in, that's a little pale. I'm going to restate that just a little. Notice my hand-drawn lines really not as crisp as my straight edge drawn lines. Yeah, there you go. It depends on what you want, but sometimes the right tool and using it makes a big difference. This edge here, even though this edge here from going from this point has to do whatever the front did. The front went up on that diagonal, and I just figured that out arbitrarily. I just picked a diagonal for my Z that I thought looked nice. So the only way I can get one that matches is I'm going to take that ruler, put it on the edge here, slide back towards my vanishing point, trying to stay parallel, and then connect. Not bad. And just a little more to do. Ooh, look at that extra tail down there. That line went a little too long. I need to get the roof. All right. Pencil on vanishing point. Ruler on pencil. There's a lot of angles in this Z. And I go up until I get to that last corner over there. Connect. I have the front. I have the two sides. I need the back. The back will do what the front did. The front is horizontal. The back will be horizontal. I place my ruler on that front horizontal. I slide up until I touch the corner of the Z I've already drawn in. Oops. Touch further. And across. And there I go. I've got all the shapes of the Z. I'm I'm ready to get rid of that last segment of that last vanishing line, or orthogonal, as they are known. Last thing I want to do is I want to add some tone to emphasize the illusion of 3 dimensions and to give it a little more drama and excitement. Well, the light is coming from the sun up here, so I'm going to think that the roof would definitely reflect back a lot of light. But I'm thinking that the side facing away from there would be in a fair bit of shadow. So I'm going to make this plane and this plane, or shape, notice I'm using the side of my pencil. I like how not only does it go faster, yay, but it doesn't dig into the paper, so it's easier to smear it around, get rid of the individual marks, make it seem like it's just part of the magic world and not a drawing at all. So I'm hiding my marks that way. It also makes it easier to clean up later if I want to erase. If you ever tried to erase something where you dug in, sort of like with these lines here, it's much harder if you used your point than if you used the side. I also want to add a little tone to the front of this Z. The reason I'm doing this is the original bubble letter Z is facing towards me, and I'm thinking that it's not facing the sun, so it would be dimmer. So I'm making it dimmer. And I kind of need to do that because I want the roof to seem really bright and white and light because the sun is shining directly on it. It would reflect the most light. Well, I can't make this any whiter than the white paper I started with. The only way I can make this seem bright and white is by making the rest of this seem dimmer and grayer. So I'm going to get some gray there. I'm not worrying too much about being super neat because I'm going to clean this up in a little bit, and I'll show you why. I also want to get some tone in here. I'm thinking this would be pretty dark because it faces away from the sun. Maybe a little lighter at this edge because maybe some sun could get in there, but I'm thinking right under here. Ooh, this would be like a big roof, just putting it right in nice deep shadow. Nice thing on a on a hot summer day, like the one I'm recording this on. Just getting these a little deeper on this side. I want to make them seem different. I want to make each direction that it faces consistent, but different from the other directions. That way it gets the idea across that the parts that face away from the sun are the darkest, the parts that face up towards the sun would be lighter, but if there's something blocking them, then they get a little shadow. Again, I'm going to lighten that just a little. I can use just the side of my eraser. I just want to lighten it ever so, just a little bit. Now I'm using the point to get really dark. I can also go in different directions to fill in those white peekaboos, or gray peekaboos as they eventually became. There they go. Well, I think I need a little bit of shadow under here. And maybe a little more on the front face of the Z, because it's kind of backlit. If you've ever taken photographs of somebody and they're standing in front of a window and the light's coming in, really hard to see their face because they're backlit. It can be dramatic at moments, but sometimes it's just really distracting, really hard to see. Well, I'm going to rub all around here. And you may be wondering, oh, Mr. RB, you're getting rid of all the white in the top of that roof. That's true, but I have to tell you, I just want to make a soft haze that you barely notice, except that you will notice when I go back in and I erase in the white for the roof. And I find it easier to draw in the white marks, the really bright light marks with an eraser, than try to avoid touching this at all with my messy fingers or my pencil. So there's that. And now that really seems much brighter because it has that soft gray next to it to stand out against. One last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to add a little bit of a little pool of shadow down at the base of the Z. There are ways we could discuss, perhaps in another video, of using perspective to figure out exactly how long a shadow would be cast and what direction it would go in. We're not getting in that today, but I am just going to give a little hint of shadow, just sort of play at the idea of shadow here. Not very realistically, but enough to give a sense of, you know, more three-dimensional form. Oops. Notice I can clean up easily because that's all smeared on. It makes it much easier to clean up than had I used the point of my pencil. Whew. There you go. One Z ready to go. All right, I hope you had fun. Enjoy your Z's. Feel free to combine them with other letters to make your own words and statements. Have fun, choose kindness, and I will talk to you soon. Bye, everybody.